Are you ready to see what the buzz is all about? Welcome to Purposeful Indulgence, where we inspire you to indulge in creativity, find purpose in the details, and cultivate a beautiful life. Hi, I'm Alexis with Purposeful Indulgence, and today we're going to make an adorable bee, multimedia, super cute, out of some unexpected things. So hopefully you didn't put your Easter stuff away yet, because if you have some of these styrofoam eggs, we're going to use this for the bee body. And you're going to want a pair of gloves, because we're going to be using golden yellow Rit dye and black Rit dye to color our Model Magic, our Crayola Model Magic. This is an air dry clay that kind of has the consistency of marshmallow fluff, kind of. Marshmallows. It's really easy to work with. It's great for kids. I would not necessarily have the kids do the dyeing, but they could participate in the other parts of the process. You're also going to want some black yarn and a pin, as well as some wire. So let's get started. We're going to pull out 2 hefty hunks, about 2/3 of our package of clay. And this will dry in the air, so you want to make sure that you maybe stick this in a Ziploc bag. And we're just going to kind of get our clay conditioned or work together into a disc. And we're doing 2 of them because, of course, our bee is going to be black and yellow. Now you want to put on your gloves, because Rit dye will stain your hands. Don't ask me how I know. All right, so give it a good shake. And you're just going to pour some of your dye, kind of give yourself a little divot in the center, and you're going to pour some of your dye right in the center. Now it's not going to soak in per se, so you want to kind of fold it into your clay. And we're only going to do 1 color at a time so that we can not mix them on our board here. What's really cool about this is that you can mix as far as you want to, or as little as you want to. And I'm kind of going for a marbled, almost watercolor effect in my clay, or my Model Magic air dry clay. So I'm not going to fully mix my color in. See how it's kind of mottled and not fully the same color? That's how you want it. So once I get my color mixed in there, and I started with yellow because the yellow can get in the black and we won't see it. But if the black gets in the yellow, we're going to see it. So you're going to take your clay, and I'm kind of just putting mine into a log here, and I'm going to tear it in half, and then I think I'll do each half and half. And I'm kind of going for equal-ish parts. Ish being the go-to term there. And so now I have 8. Do I have 8? I have 8 parts. And we have 8 parts. You're going to take your pieces, and you're just going to kind of put them in your hand, and you're going to roll them into snakes. About 1 foot long. Trying to keep your snake as even as possible. Just like that. It's kind of better if you work it first and then you roll it. You could use polymer clay for this. However, you'll need to make your base out of foil, aluminum foil, because you cannot bake the styrofoam and polymer clay gets baked. So I'm just using my first one as a guide for about how long my snakes need to be. And they're not the same width, and that's okay, because a bee is a natural thing in nature. Just like humans, they're not going to all be perfectly striped, and they're not all going to be perfectly the same, and that's okay. That's the beauty of it. Different is okay. Try not to have them touch. And depending on how big your bee is, will depend on how many snakes you want to roll out. You can also save your model magic for later. So let's just say 4 snakes is all I'm going to do. I can take the remainder of my clay and kind of mush it together and stick it in a Ziploc bag and come back to it whenever I'm ready to. So now that I have my yellow snakes done, I'm going to move them off my board because like I said, I don't want to get the black in them, and black will definitely show up in the yellow. So I'm going to save this for a Ziploc bag because that's plenty. Plenty for one. We can always come back and make more. Now I'm going to take my black dye, and your black dye, kind of the rule of thumb with RIT dye is that the darker the color, the more pigmented it's going to be. So the yellow, we probably used about a teaspoon. The black, we may need less. So, a little crusty there. We're going to just pour, and those little flakes are fine. About a half a teaspoon in there, and we'll see if we need to add more. But I'm going to do the same thing where I kind of just sandwich my black in here and start working it. And again, you're going to get a really cool marble effect. Now, however you want your colors to be, if you want your colors to be completely consistent, just keep working it, and you can always add a little bit more dye to get the color consistent throughout. I like the watercolor effect. I think it really adds to the texture of the piece. Just soaking up the rest of my dye. And now I have this. I could add more if I want it to be a little darker, but I'm happy with this. I like the difference in the color and what our end result will be. So just like I did with the yellow, I kind of roll it into a log, and I'm going to pinch in half, and I already know I only need half. So this I can save for another bee. This half, I'm going to take each one of those in half, and then in half again. And we're going to make our snakes. And if you want to add even more texture to it, make sure your surface is protected. I have a piece of transfer tape like you use for stencils stuck down to my table. I'm just going to put a little bit of my dye right on there, and I'm going to roll my snake into it to make my snake a little darker. And then roll out your snake. And your snakes don't even have to match. And you'll see I dipped this one while it was still like kind of a clump instead of a snake. So the color is going to vary even a little bit more. And if you get a skinny spot, just kind of pinch it together and roll it together to make it thick again. And last one, just gonna wipe it in my dye. Try to keep your fingers as consistent as you can with pressure, and that helps to have more of an even snake. This is a good part to give the kids a pair of gloves and let them help out with. So there are our black snakes. Now I'm gonna take just a piece of paper towel and I'm gonna dry up my black dye so that it's not getting onto my project. You can also change out your surface if you'd like. And if I get any on my hands now, it should come clean because it's not as saturated. All right, now we're gonna take our egg, and this top part, what we would consider the top of the egg, is going to be the behind of the bee. So I'm gonna start with my black snake. And I'm going to kind of leave a point, and then I'm going to start wrapping my clay around my bee, or my egg, to make a bee. And this is going to be his little stinger. So I have some black, and I'm just going to pinch it off. And recenter it on there. And then I'm going to go in and grab my yellow. And right where I finished with my black, I'm going to go around with the yellow. I think I'll go 2 times. And then just pinch it off and go back into your black. And we ran out. Uh-oh. All we're gonna do is grab our next snake and continue. And then pinch it off. And you can kind of smooth it, push it together, and you're getting a really cute bee shape. Now I'm going to go in with my yellow, and I'm keeping all of my seams on one side because that'll be the bottom. And I need to go another yellow. You want to make sure that your colors are touching too. So just move it around. It's very soft and easy to work with. And there you're getting your little bee. And now I'm gonna go in with my black, and I'm gonna do 1 black. I didn't follow my own rule. Seams together. So there's my seam, and that's where I'm gonna start it. And I'm gonna go in with 1 black snake. And then I'm gonna finish it off with a yellow. So this looks like 1 set here is enough to make, or half of what we colored is enough to probably make 2 bees. So now we have our cute little bee shape, and I'm just kind of patting it together. I don't want to mush it. I want to make sure that I still have my little lines, but there our bee is formed. So now it's time to make the wings and the head. So I'm going to come back and make a bee buddy for him off camera. All right. So now you want to grab your wire, and you probably want maybe about 9 inches of wire. And then another 9 inches of wire for the 2 wings. And I'm just using one to measure the other, so they're about the same. And I'm gonna hold them together while I do this so that I get kind of the same wing on each side. And it's okay if you have a wonky wing. And then I'm going to just twist my wing to where it's gonna stay together. There's my little wing. And I'm gonna cut off the end so that I have a little piece to poke into the bee. So I'm gonna hold them together again and twist. And then cut off my excess. And we'll be able to poke these right into the bee. Next, we have to make the bee's head. And I told you, multi-texture, multi-medium. We're gonna use yarn, and we're gonna make a pom-pom for the bee's head. So I'm just gonna take my yarn, and I'm gonna use my fingers. I think I'm gonna do 3 fingers, and I'm gonna wrap it about 20 times. This is the Lion brand Hometown Proud in South Dakota Black. It's a super chunky number 6 yarn. Okay, so I did 20, and you're probably thinking, that's a giant head. We're gonna trim it down, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna grab an extra piece there, and I'm gonna take my piece, and I'm going to feed it through my index finger and my middle finger. While I kind of hold that in place. And then I'm going to feed it through my index finger and my middle finger on this side. And now we have it around our yarn pom-pom. So shimmy it off your fingers. Make sure it's in the center. You want to crisscross it, and you want to put it through once, twice, and that helps you lock it into place. Just making sure it's in the center. And I'm going to tie it again in a knot, and then I'm going to get rid of my strings here. And now I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to go through all these loops, and I'm going to cut them open. And then you want to check and see if you missed any. And just snip those. Pom-poms are so forgiving. And this one's looking pretty wonky now, but we're going to fix that. Before I start trimming my pom-pom though, I'm going to make sure my clay's out of the way, because otherwise all of our pom-pom fuzz is going to end up where? in our clay. So taking my extra pieces for my next bee, and I'm gonna take my pom-pom, and the string, like the belt of the pom-pom, is going this way. So I'm gonna smush it down this way, and I'm gonna cut around it. So you just wanna, these ones work way better. You're just gonna cut around pom-pom to get a nice round shape. And then I usually will pinch it the other way and trim off any crazy yarns that are sticking out that way. And you want it round, and if there's a little ones poking out here or there, it's okay, because again, no bee is perfect. We're emulating nature. And the round-ish shape of the bee's head. And you saw how that pom-pom was kind of floppy, and now that we've trimmed it, it's nice and full. That's one nice thing about using the super bulky yarn, is it fluffs up really nice. You can use the thinner yarn, you'll just need to wrap it a lot more times to get a nice full pom-pom. So there's my bee head. And I'm gonna take and get rid of all of my fuzz and my scraps. Just like that. Then we're gonna take another piece of wire, probably about, I don't know, 7 inches long, about that long. And we're going to fold the wire in half like this, in a U shape. We're going to take the wire and we're going to put it up through the center of the bee. And I'm going so that it catches on that string in the middle. So I'm just going to put it, just kind of work it straight up through the center, and it will pull. You're almost threading the bee head onto there. And now you have your bee head with your little antenna. So now you're going to take your pencil, which you probably have handy where you're creating, a pencil, a pen, a marker, something of that sort. And you're just going to wrap it around and create some cute little antennas for your bee. I believe this is an 18 gauge wire. So there's our little bee antennas. And now you're going to take your straight pin with a head on it, and you're going to put that straight down into the bee. And you'll notice it gets lost in your yarn. You just want to make sure that it's going straight down so that your head goes on straight. And then this part right here, we're going to poke right into the front of our bee body. Now you could wait for this to dry, or you could be impatient like me and just want to see it all together immediately. So just I just pat it to get my desired shape here. And you can see the bee has some really cool texture to the body. And you're just going to take your wings and poke them straight into your styrofoam and your clay. And you want to do this while your clay is wet. And you could put them on the sides or on the top. And there you have an adorably textured once you get your wings in, you have an adorably textured multi-medium bee that can go in your dough bowls, on your tiered tray, on your shelf, any cute space that you just need a little bee. Now you can also take a skewer and poke that up into the bottom of your bee. And this bee is perfect for poking into a flower arrangement. So real or fake, I can't grow real things, so mine would be fake, but you can poke this right into your arrangement and have this adorable little bee with the antennas. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you play with some clay and make yourself a little multimedia, super adorable, fuzzy head bee for your bee decor this season. I'm Alexis with Purposeful Indulgence. Follow us on all social media platforms at Purposeful Indulgence and check out our website at purposefulindulgence.com.